Hey everyone, thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Liverpool Connection Podcast PubChat. We're at our favorite Irish pub, B.D. Riley's here in Austin, Texas. And we're back in the wank room, and I'm with Zach. Probably the best person to be in the wank room with, but, right?
Depends on who you ask.
Anyway, midweek game, we're playing Champions League. All the games played at the same time. We come in, top of the group, and we're hoping that, Slot changed the squad. But man, did he change the squad?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's sitting there. It's only like we were talking, it's only a 2-hour flight, probably less, right? Hour something flight. And yeah, we got a big game Saturday, but anyway, we're here to talk about today. And yeah, you kind of expected this. I mean, aside from Nunez, you thought Nunez would be in the game.
He got sick at the last
sick.
minute, right?
He had a bad batch of Danishes or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was a young squad, and it's not a game that a draw, right? Was something you always want to win every game, and we already clinched. To lose in that fashion, so, it's just what it is. But yeah, I mean, we're just gonna get into Chiesa. I mean, that's all we need to talk. Label this podcast Chiesa.
The Chiesa love fest. But
yes.
we go into it, and so the lineup, and so I was thinking when we saw the lineup, like Tsimikas and Robbo played left center back, and I'm thinking who's playing the left back on Saturday against Bournemouth? Because that's a very important game, obviously. They're flying high, and that's the Premier League. We want to win that. So they're both playing today. So across the back, obviously with Kelleher, and then Bradley, Kwanzaa, Robbo, and Tsimikas. And in the middle, what do we have? Elliot, McConnell.
Yeah, Morton.
And not Morton.
No, Morton came in after
Endo,
that.
right? Endo starting in the middle. And then up top, Gapco, Dans, and Chiesa. And so it was like, okay, let's see what happens. And it just showed that I don't think Slot really cared about whether we won the group or not. But at the end of the day, we ended up winning because Barcelona drew their game. So double victory, right? We got to rest people. We won the group. So 2 victories over 1 loss. So we ended up winning today, my math.
Yeah. From that math is that Barcelona dropping points as well as us. But yeah, you get to the top of the group, and it's, we're all kind of learning how this format works, and moving forward, I mean, it's going to be very exciting. So.
One of the things that, somebody that we don't see a lot of these players play, right? So Bradley comes in, and you really wanted to see Bradley because, with the Trent situation, you want to see Bradley come in and really take it by the horn. But I don't think I'm a big Bradley fan, but I don't think he did himself any justice today. I was really hoping he would really be a focal point of the team, but defensively and offensively, I don't think he had his best game, and I think on the FOTBall rating, it was rated pretty low. McConnell, I thought he showed some pretty good touches in the midfield. He showed a couple of times he had the pace, so I was surprised by that. And another thing is Dan's. Everybody's like, oh, Dan, but Dan showed today he's not ready. I thought he was tired. He had some really tired legs. He wasn't making the runs that Nunez, who, if he hadn't got ill at the last minute, probably would have started up front. So people that are calling for dance and to sell Nunez and play dance, come on, guys. Let's be real. Let's check your football knowledge at the door and really appreciate what Nunez brings to the team. Even when he's not scoring, he's making those runs in the channels that Dan's didn't do today. I thought he was very legged. But who we thought played well. So let's go over, because we gave up some silly goals, but then we scored some goals, and I think both coaches didn't care what the result was going to be. Gapco, great moment. He gets to score a penalty at his old stadium. So I know you were like, he's not going to celebrate. He played there for a long time, but that had been a good moment for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he has to be put in the lineup. He has to be put in there, and he didn't really do much besides that. I mean, Chiesa earned the penalty, and then he stepped up, and it was always going to be him to take it. But I do want to go back to the other point about these players that don't play a lot. Who said Dan should start over Nunez?
That's all you got.
There's a lot of E-Reds out there that are saying sell Nunez, put Dan's out there. I'm just telling you, this is what you read on social media, and I scoff at it. Anybody with any half of football knowledge knows that Dan's is not ready to take over Nunez's minutes, right? And so Dan's is 19. He's still learning his craft. Yeah, he's played, but come on, guys. Come on. We've been trying to educate you while we've had this podcast. Come on. Let's not do this. Nunez should be sold and let Dan take his minutes. Let's stop that.
And it showed a lot today. The players that don't play a lot, Kwanzaa, and Dan's. McConnell's the exception. I thought he had a pretty good game, but Kwanzaa had some scuffy moments. Bradley, he doesn't play every game. I mean, it just showed that all these players aren't ready, and you have to you got to show up in the Champions League. And obviously, this is a big game for PSV, even though the likes of Salah and Van Dijk and Gravenberch and Sobla, etc. aren't playing. But that one guy was crying a lot. You see that? That if you watch the game, that fan, he don't do that. he was crying for some reason, so obviously meant something to him. But yeah, I mean,
well, maybe he had the same food that Nunez had, and he just started to feel it.
Yeah, that spoiled octopus or whatever they're eating over there.
Lox of bagel.
Love lox. Love a bagel and lox, little capers, a little red onion. Now we're turning into a food podcast. Anyway.
Well, we love food.
The red card from Nala.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Our production assistant really wants to be part of the podcast, but hey, you just hold the camera there. All right, Balake, you just hold the camera. So let's talk about Chiesa. You guys know I want to talk about him. And I know we're on the losing end, but the touches he had, the quality, the fitness, and I think I mentioned this a couple podcasts ago when he played out there on the left wing. He was closing spaces. The penalty that Gakpo converted was all about him closing those spaces. I thought he was excellent, and if he can continue that, he gives us another person off the bench that will add quality. And I thought he was quality throughout, and you could see that it meant a lot to him to play the full 90. And spectrum vision, that's what we're doing right now. But so running around the field, but what I loved about Chiesa at the end, when their guy was like doing tricks and you're like, whoa, trickery. And then Chiesa pointed to him, and obviously we can't hear what Chiesa told him, but he pointed at him like, don't fucking do that. And that's what I love. I love that attitude, and I think Chiesa is going to be the X factor as we go into the business end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he played his heart out. At one point during that game, did he feel like stopping? Did he ever take his foot off the pedal? I mean, it's exciting to see. He has a lot to prove. From the Euros, going at almost $180 million price tag after that 2022, the COVID year, and us almost signing him. He got hurt and he's been plagued with injuries, and he could really be kind of that dark horse in these tight games at the end of the season because he's so thirsty to score. And I thought he was a part of everything today. He's got a good shot on him, right and left foot. He was the most energetic, and for us, player of the match.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think a lot of places they're like saying, Gakpo was player of the match, but I thought Chiesa was player of the match. He earned the penalty, and he took that shot that the keeper parried over for Elliott, and so I think he played the full 90. He was involved, and like I said, man, I think it really bodes well for this team if he gets up to speed, and the way he was closing spaces down today shows that he's very close to being full match fit, playing the full 90, and he's going to be, like I said, an X factor moving on. So, mission accomplished. Really, I think going into Champions League with this new format, it was just about qualifying to the next round, right? But to finish top exceeds everybody's expectations. Barcelona and Atalanta, helping us out today. But to finish top of that group, 7-1, and come on, let's be honest. If we had our full team today, we would have beat them 5-6-0, right? So it wouldn't have been close.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious thing to say. But I mean, whatever. But to start the season with slot and to finish where we're at now, I mean, completely blows everybody's expectations out of the water. I mean, yeah, slot came in with a loaded team, but not everyone's going to get on board with the new manager. So it's a great feeling. It's a positive feeling all around the infield. And now we get to venture into this next part of this new formatted tournament that try to add a seventh.
Yeah, I guess the draw will be Friday. All these algorithms are like determining who you're going to play. But first place, which guarantees that every round that we play in from now on, we'll have the home leg, the second leg, or the home match, the second leg, which is key. Anfield is always a place that will bring the noise, especially on those European nights. And it's such an advantage to have the second leg at home. Now, it's weird, right? This format is kind of weird, right? You just go in. So to be at top, exceed all expectations. I mean, look, you have big teams, Real Madrid, PSG, Man City. They're like at the bottom, and they have to play another round. So you can't underestimate the fact that we don't have to play this next round, 2 extra games in our schedule. For us, is very key because we already have some extra games, right? So not to have to play the next round in February that these other teams have, I think that bodes well for us.
Yeah, and those teams may have not have expected to get through, so they kind of expected to play those games. But for us to be the likes of Leverkusen, which was always going to be a highly touted game, and then Real Madrid, and I don't care where they're at, they still have Mbappe and Vinicius and Jude Bellingham, and they still have the top quality players. So it's exciting to push through that. But yeah, that draw is going to be interesting. I mean, honestly, I'm not worried about our spot in the final. Honestly, I'm not just being biased. I really just don't. The other side, I honestly think it's up for grabs. I mean, it's Champions League. We all know everything can happen. A European night in any given place can mean a lot for a team. And so these PSGs, well, Bayern actually plays, but anyway, these Bayern, these cities, but it's a big deal. And if we see Barcelona, we're going to see them in the final. So.
Well, yeah, to me, Barcelona's not the team that I would fear because I think they're wide open. Real Madrid has the pedigree, obviously. And I think that we've been discounted the fact that we really throttle them when we play them.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of overlooked that we really kick the shit out of them. And I think we would do again. I think, I was listening to some pundits earlier that people were like, oh, well, Liverpool is not built for the Champions League, home and away. I'm like, because they're really controlling, they don't go. But I think, conversely, I think that is the reason why over 2 legs that we can beat every team, because we know how to play these games, and it's going to be exciting. And now the lads have to rest. I mean, really, we only have maybe, 2 players that may feature on Saturday playing in this game, Gapco and maybe Simicus or Rabo. So we're going to be well rested for the Bournemouth match. It's going to be, that's it right there. The Arsenal plays after us, so we get the 3 points in the morning, put the pressure on Arsenal, and they have a tough game. And that could be a defining part of the season right there.
Yeah, we're going into the Bournemouth stuff. We're going through. Yeah, I mean it's a huge game. They're well informed. They put 4 on Newcastle, who is well informed with Isak and all that. And then they put a beat down on Forest. I do think Bournemouth are a real. They like to score. They like to go forward, but they're an open team. You look back at that Forest game we lost early in the season, they just kind of pulled back. But then when we played Bournemouth earlier, I think it was a couple weeks after, they just want to attack. So they're always naturally going to be vulnerable. There's going to be space to attack. It's going to be loud. This is huge for them. I think they're in 7th or something right now. So But Europe is right on the horizon, and that would be massive for them to get there.
Yeah, it's sometimes we get caught up in the game itself where we don't look at the bigger picture, right? To be able to win those 7 games and go into this last game of the Champions League and rest practically the entire team, and so have everybody ready for Saturday. That's part of the bigger picture, right? I mean, it is part of the bigger picture because now we get to go against Bournemouth, who does play wide open. They don't bunker in.
No.
And we're going to be well rested. So's like going to be raring to go.
Right.
Salah's going to be raring to go. Diaz is going to be raring to go. Mack and Gravenberg. So it's going to be a great game. I really do believe that this is a defining weekend this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to say that each week, you know what I mean? And, because, the next game after that is Everton, right? At Goodison, the last Merseyside derby. So it's all of these games compiled. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting. They're going to be ready to play. They got some players in form. And it's going to be something where we got to really pull together. And there's the age-old saying is rest good, there's the bad. I think everybody on this team wants to win. Everybody is full bore, do or die. Every game is a final, and I just can't wait to see us perform at this level.
Before we sign off, bad luck to Nella, man. He gets a red card, man. At least you got to play the Champions League, right?
Yeah, I guess you got to say you stepped on. They're going to make a trading card out of him. They're going to cut a piece of his jersey off and say he played in the game, and it's going to be called the red card. And but yeah, I mean that's tough. I mean that's not going to be good for your psyche, and it's not going to be good moving forward. But hopefully, he's playing these other games and he can find confidence there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, going into it, I mean, obviously from the attendance at the pub, you're kind of like, okay, this game was important, but it's exciting to see the younger players play in these environments. You're not at the comforts of Anfield. You have to go I know it's not a far trip. They probably all go to Amsterdam on the weekends anyway to party, but you're there. It's a Champions League night. You're playing against other professionals that they're trying to prove themselves because they want to come to the Premier League.
Right.
Anybody in the Eredivisie, that's their goal is to get to the Premier League. So at the end of the day, no injuries. We finished first in the Champions League group, and then now we focus on Saturday. So any last parting words of wisdom, Zach?
Yeah, I was going to add to your point, the Mallow red card. Yeah, I don't know how many people fit PSV Stadium, but it's 40, 50,000 maybe? 35, 40, yeah. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. And to come on, you're going to have those heightened senses, and you're trying to stop a goal. You're trying to mitigate damage, and so, but moving forward, Saturday's a huge game, and we look forward to seeing you guys then.
That's right. So until next time, thanks to Zach for helping me out today. So please subscribe, like, put on your notifications. Until next time, cheers, up the Reds.